some kids are born and they're like, they want to be a teacher or something. And I mean, for my third birthday, my parents got me like a guest check pad. And I'd be like going around at family barbecues, like, how do you know your burger cooked?
So you like already knew from the jump, basically.
Yeah. I mean, like, the only gift I wanted, like, Christmas when I was 5 was like the Barbie cash register. And I would like make my parents step on the other side of the window and order through the drive-thru.
Tasha Wine, we're here at Hotel Vin in Grapevine, Texas, and I'm here with Nikki Haarklau.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us more about yourself and how you got to Hotel.
Yeah, so I caught the wine bug pretty early on. I've always been interested in food and beverage, so it's been a passion of mine. But I came up with my career through hotels primarily, hotel food and beverage specifically. So I started in the New York market with Hilton Hotels in New York, and really got to see what went into building a wine list, how wine lists received awards, and all the intricacies that you had to play. And then from there, I moved into the Marriott Marquis in Times Square, and that wine world was just like huge. I mean, they do wine really well, again, the award world, but they also hosted the Wine Spectator Awards every year. So that was pretty huge. That really, really opened my eyes, knowing that there's formal education involved in wine, which I just thought it was cool to drink and you can learn a lot, but to actually know that there's, conferences for 10,000 people at a time, and to meet and network with all those types of people, I was like, wow, there's a real career here. You could be a somm, you could be a restaurateur, you could be a hotelier, and there's just so many different paths that you could take. So I wasn't aware of that prior, so I learned a lot through them, and then joined the Marriott corporate team and opened a bunch of hotels, again, making wine lists and creating restaurant concepts, down from uniforms to the color of the boots to the menu paper, so a little bit of everything. And then I was ready to plant some roots, and I made my way to Texas, and if you had told me that, I would not have believed that was in the cards, but I'm here, and I like to say all the time that, I wish I got here sooner. So I really love this industry. Here at Hotel Vin, what's unique is we're part of Marriott. We're an autograph collection hotel. Every autograph collection has to have their signature, their mark, and ours, with a name like Vin, is all around wine and wine education. So, there's subtle hints throughout the hotel when it comes to artwork, wine program, and everything we do, like our restaurant. It's the Roman god of wine, Bacchus. So extensive wine list, but also cool niche ways to express that. We do these glass tastings that we'll talk about, but every varietal has a specific glass that it's intended for. So here we have our Cabernet and Cabernet glass. Served at the right temperature in the right glass. So that's what we do differently here. We work with real glasses to do that for all of our guests' wine experiences, and it truly plays an important part in wine and wine education. So it's not something we do because it's easy, it's expensive, and a pain in the butt when we break a ton of these, but it's truly like the right thing to do when it comes to wine and wine experience with guests. So
That's awesome.
it's a lot of fun.
How long have you been in Texas?
I've been in Texas a little over 2 years. So I moved here for this job, and we opened in September of 2020, which is not the best time to open a hotel in the midst of the pandemic. But we did it, and we're about to hit our 2-year anniversary now. So I've been here a little over 2 years.
Yes.
Thank you. It's been a fun journey.
Speaking of fun, what is the biggest difference between the New York City compared to the Texas City?
Well, here in Texas, cab is king. Cab and steak are king. In New York, you'd see rosé on every table, and rosé I can't sell for my life. I'm struggling to sell rosé.
So even during the summertime, Texas is like a billion degrees, it's still a challenge to sell rosé.
Yeah, we'll go sparkling here, at least in the Grapevine market. It might be different in Dallas, but here in this market, we sell bubbles and we sell Sauvignon Blanc. But rosé,
So being close to the airport, that's about a 5-minute drive to Basketball International Airport. You guys get a lot of travelers to come in, like really partake in this experience.
Yeah, definitely. We see a ton of traffic at the airport. If there are flight delays, we know occupancy goes up immediately.
Yeah.
But we see it because of the proximity to the airport. We see a ton of business travelers, and business travelers are a great clientele for us. They love their wine. A lot of them are really wine educated, so it's a great place for them to come and perhaps even learn something new. And if nothing else, they at least really appreciate what our offerings are because they feel heard. So, we have a ton of regulars that are far from local. We have people that are come from, the New York, the California markets, even, Michigan that are here 3 days a week, every week, all year. So, we're not just here for the locals, though that is a majority of our business. We do have quite a large influence on our, travelers.
Being from New York, there's a lot about that New York, New Jersey, that persona. Like, how has that helped you develop this culture at Hotel Vin?
Well, it hasn't helped me, I don't think, from the start. I moved quick. I'm like, let's go. And so I was quickly, just like, I'm not working at a slower pace, but my approach has had to shift a little bit, where I can't just be like, hey, let's get it done. Hey, how's your day? How's everything going? I've always been genuine like that, but I have to ease my way into business versus, just straight business.
And as being from New York and then being immersed in this wine culture as a woman, how has it been difficult to really build up this culture?
There are over 170 master songs in North America, and less than 20 of them are women. So learning that kind of fact and culture as just an industry, that's been a huge motivator to make sure that there's women involvement and growing women leadership within the property and within the company organization. But the key with everything is just education and finding people that want to learn and that want to be part of this community and educate themselves. And I'm a huge believer in growing your garden from within. So anybody that wants to learn something from me, I want to teach them something. So that's just my philosophy in general.
And so for people who are looking to get more of that educational aspect of wine, what are some steps they can do to reach out to you?
Well, I'm an open book. Call me, email me, DM me. Anyone wants to learn, again, I'm here to share anything that I know. And we were saying, you can study wine every day for the rest of your life and still only know this much. It's just such a vast topic. And you think you've mastered something, and they're like, oh, there's 6 more chapters to this. Italy, France, people can dedicate their entire careers. There's thousands of grape varietals. In Napa, California, it's a little different. Whereas Italy, France, it's so much more fast. So if you want to learn, there's topics to cover. Again, there's master songs that'll say that they don't know it all. So there's a lot to learn, and it's a lot of fun in the process. So I'll teach anyone anything they want to know, and definitely an open book. And we offer things at the hotel here all the time too. From glass tastings to wine tastings to spirit seminars. Because that's who we are as a brand too. Is like to sip and enjoy and indulge, but we also like to educate.
Sure. Speaking of education, you are, like you said, too, right?
Yeah.
And you're also trying to extend that education too?
Yeah. So I recently I started with WSET or WSET, and I'm on level 2 there. But there's different sectors. So I was always trained that WSET was more theory-based or science-focused, like down to soil types. Whereas now I've entered the new level of education, or separate path of the Florida Master Songs, which is more service-oriented. So it's properly, setting the bottle table side, running the class for 8 people, 1 bottle, knowing the proper service cues, but then it also still touches that theory perspective of soil types and, grape growing conditions and viticulture and all of that. So, I think both are very necessary if you want to have a career in the wine industry. They just do two different things and have two different paths, but equally valuable. And definitely don't recommend only getting to the top at one. I think that you need them both to be well rounded.
That's great advice. Speaking of advice, you mentioned how there's less than 20% of master songs in the whole of North America that are female.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anyone in particular who you go to for like your wine advice or just like your career trajectory advice?
It's funny. The person that I go to the most would be Dilek out of Dallas Wine Education Center. She was my educator for WSET 1 and 2. It's probably a great relationship. And she's a badass woman. She's amazing. And she's a master of wine and a master song. So talk about taking it to the top for both levels there. She's done an amazing job, and she's always the one, I'll send her my list and say, hey, here are a few tweaks that I'm looking to make. What do you think? Or, hey, can you point in the right direction? I'm looking for, the best dry Riesling from Germany. So she's been a great resource for me. But, again, I've met so many people that are willing to teach me. You just have to, I've learned to be the person that says, I want to learn. If you don't say I want to learn, then people are just going to just come to you with advice. They might have to go wrong really quick. But if you want to learn and you make that known, anyone will teach you.
Let's go. And then last question is, now that you mentioned, you're chasing the next level of wine education with the song, what are your dreams? Like, what do you see yourself doing with Hotel Vin and also just with your own brand?
Yeah. I want to create my own brand of being a wine educator. You see me driving on the road, my license plate is champagne. So, it's who I want. It's who I'm striving to be. I love Hotel Vin. I want to continue to grow with this organization. Definitely with a focus on restaurants, food and beverage, and wine lists. That's something that is a fun passion of mine. But if I had to, say 10 years from now, I'd love to be, a beverage director for an organization like this, where I have an impact on, restaurants within the portfolio nation.
That's big dreams, and we hope that we see you one of the bottles for us moving forward at Hotel Vin and wherever wine tasting.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of wine list, we've got some fun little wine tasting experience to show you, so y'all stay tuned for what's next. You go to school for this type of stuff?
I got my degree in hotel restaurant management, so yeah. Truly, some kids are born and they're they want to be a teacher or something. And for my third birthday, my parents got me a guest check pad. And I'd be going around to family barbecues, how do you want your burger cooked?
So you already moved from the job, basically?
Yeah. The only gift I wanted, Christmas when I was 5 was the Barbie cash register. And I would make my parents step on the other side of the window and order through the drive-thru.
That's the way you want it to be, though. If you're gonna start building that passion, starting early is super cool. So
my parents still have the guest checks that I would write on.
And you gotta get it framed up at the crib.
I should. I just have the actual physical one. But I learned how to make an old fashioned before I knew how to write my name. So I come home from family barbecues. My parents are "Oh, where did you get all this money?" I'm people gave me tips.
So here we have an amazing wine tasting experience at Hotel Vin. Again, if you're in the area, if you're in Grapevine, Texas, which is about 5 minutes away from the DFW airport, come see Nikki and her team. They will give you an experience you'll never have any other location really. So
it's unique.
You want to dive into that?
Yeah. So we have a partnership here with Rito Glassware. So that means basically that you're serve the varietal-specific wine in the varietal-specific glass at the right temperature. That's key. And it truly, I was not a believer, when I, learning about this, I was like, oh, we're not doing this. Like, this is a operational nightmare. But after going through the certification and understanding why it's done the way it is, I mean, everything from the base, the stem, to the bowl, to the diameter of the mouthpiece, it's all done for a specific reason. The glass is totally manipulated in a way to better show the message of the wine. And it's worth every trouble that we go through here as restaurateurs to provide it for the guests because it's the right thing to do. So we call these like our tools. It's our toolkit in front of us. So, we have our glass here. It's a Sauvignon Blanc glass, we call it. This is the extreme collection of glasses. Riedel has 1,000,001. Like, there's some behind us that are the Somme selection. Those are for like your Beaujolais, your Bordeaux, but these are like your everyday varietal glasses. So we have our Sauvignon Blanc glass, any unoaked white wine, Sauvignon Blanc, Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, you name it, it's unoaked, it's going in here. And then glass here we have our extreme Chardonnay. It's for any oaked white wine glass, any oaked white wine. There'll be some oaked Sauvignon Blancs maybe from France, but pretty much it's going to be Chardonnay from California or France. Then we have our Pinot Noir glass, which I have the most respect for because Pinot Noir is the most temperamental grape. It's hard to grow, it's hard to properly show in a glass, and they've done a really excellent job with that. And then we have our Sauvignon Blanc. We have our Cabernet Sauvignon glass, which is my favorite. Not just because I love Cab, but because if you can only have one of these glasses, this one holds a whole bottle.
Okay.
So this is the one I'm taking.
So all the Texans down here that we are eating on steaks, like you mentioned earlier, like that's the glass to go.
Yeah, Cab is king here and everywhere. But yeah, love it. This is my favorite. And then we have our Joker glass, which is a joke because it's plastic, red Solo cup, backyard barbecue. But it's a point of reference because it's how many people are introduced to wine. In the wine shop, they're giving you samples in a plastic cup.
Especially with like the holidays coming up, a lot of people will be getting together, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all those type of holidays, and people are going to have what's more affordable and accessible. So.
Yeah, who wants to do the dishes after
thing
together?
Right. Facts.
So, you want to try?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we here, so I'm going to try it. Sure.
Okay, so here we have the Chardonnay. It's oak Chardonnay, Napa Chard, Napa Cellars, so Napa, French oak. But it's the right temperature in the right glass. So what we like to do is, look at it and swirl first. It makes us look super educated.
Yeah, you did. So, like, are these like glasses where one I can get at the store, and then two, like, am I allowed to like cheers and like tap the glass?
Oh, totally. Cheers.
Cheers. There you go. Okay. See, that's why I was worried. I don't want to break these glasses.
No. You can totally cheers. You can get them at like a Williams Sonoma or Macy's. You can also get them through Riedel or at Hotel Vin.
There you go.
But yeah, they're not too hard.
But
so this is Chardonnay in the right glass. Are you a Chardonnay drinker?
I'm actually trying to open up my palate a little bit, so the taste is in like actual Chardonnay glass.
It's different, right?
It opens up like the aroma. You can smell like for sure.
Yeah, you get that oak, little tropical fruit maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I used to be like an ABCer, like anything but Chardonnay. But this glass really changed my perception because I was like, oh, maybe I've just been drinking it out of the wrong glass the whole time because like this doesn't punch me with oak. I mean, I get the oak, but it's not hitting me with it. So
basically what you're saying and you're telling to the people is that you can have a wine that you probably hated, but maybe you just had it in like a solo cup, or you had it in the wrong glass, or you had it in plastic.
Yeah, the wrong glass gives you the wrong message of the wine. And then you just create stereotypes about it, and you're like, no, I hate Chardonnay. And then I had it in my glass, I'm like, oh, I could do this, I like this.
So for people who are like hesitant on, again, probably like the holy trinity of glasses, like, what is important when you're looking for that right glass?
I think, I wouldn't go out and buy the whole collection at once unless you were really diverse at home and honest. I don't have all 4 of these glasses. I have 3 of them, and it's because I typically don't drink peanut water at all.
Awesome.
So, like, this was the first one I bought because I'm typically big into cab or red blends. So, this was like my everyday glass. But then, again, I'd be having Chardonnay, and I'd be like, this glass is amazing, but it's not showing the wine properly. So why am I putting Chardonnay in this glass? So I'd be like, okay, you gotta buy it. It's a little bit of an investment, but you have to take care of them, and just like anything else, if it's something that you really enjoy, then it's a price point. And they're pretty approachable. I mean, like a set of 2 is like $50. So if wine is something that you frequently drink, it's worth the investment. But you ready? Let's do this. Let's take the glass that you know how it's supposed to taste, and put it in here.
Good thing you told me, so I almost finished this glass. All right.
Don't worry, there's more.
There's always more, you know what I'm saying? All right.
So, just try to smell the wine right now.
Can't really smell it.
It's gone. You have to put your whole face in the glass and don't look at that. But let's see what you see. Isn't it bitter?
This reminds me of like the beer pong days where you just had like the ball in the cup.
You don't know what's in there. Yeah.
It tastes like Natty Light. No disrespect to that stuff.
Yeah, not fun.
That's different.
So we can put it back in here and we call this the repair sip.
Yeah, the first sip.
Let's remember the good things about Chardonnay. Isn't that crazy?
It's wild because also you can the temperature change too.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just much more cooler. Yeah. Yes.
You want to try with red wine?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now we're talking right there. Now we're talking.
So this is the Dow Cab. They're out of Paso Robles in California. It's south of Napa.
What do you call this?
This is the decanter. So this aerates the wine. This is, there's some guests of ours that'll come in with their bottles, pick their wines for dinner hours before, and they'll say, they'll call and say, hey, for my 7 o'clock reservation, can you decant my red wine at 4? It opens it up. It creates some aromatics to it, especially if it's like an older vintage.
Yeah.
We want there to see some air.
So if you're going on a date, is that something that you typically see with people, or is it more like a business thing, or people just want to stunt?
Well, here we decant all reds.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I mean, we ask first, because some people will say no, don't. But it's just common practice here that if you buy a bottle of red, we're decanting it. But the people, typically it's the business people that want, or that are, buying 1986 vintages, things like that, for them to the wines to properly show, you want it to open up a little bit.
So I shouldn't really use that for my 2020 19 crimes, Snoop Dogg bottle.
Hey, I'd be interested to know what it does.
All right. Yeah, I'll check that out.
All right.
Let's see.
So this is Dow Cab, right glass, right temperature.
It's that Texas joint right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So why do you do this?
So you put on a 45-degree angle. You can see the true color of the wine. You can see that it has that ruby red color. On some older wines, you would see an outer rim of orange. Here it has more of a watery rim, but this is a 2020 vintage, so it doesn't see so much age.
She's spitting bars right now. That's about to get her song. I'm over here flustered. Oh, that's crazy.
And then, the nose is different from the mouth. From here I get red fruit, strawberry, raspberry. But then when you taste it, it's dark cherry. Yeah, I get blackberries. It totally changes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, so I can taste the really strong
Still,
tannins.
you're going to have to edit that out. Jewel red wine.
I'll send you that cut. You can post it on Alright. No, I taste the tannins.
Yeah.
it's really like it tastes like that really deep.
It's like a fullness.
Mm-hmm. Calves are my thing. Like that's calves. I'm a big red guy, so like it's not in season right now, but for me, a red, I'm good.
As long as you're drinking it inside of the air conditioner, I mean, who cares?
It really is anyways.
You want to try and experiment?
Yes, do it.
Alright, so if you take this glass, which is intended for Sauvignon Blanc,
Okay.
it's typically, if you went to a restaurant that only had one glass, it typically looks like this, more or less. I mean, just, you go to a restaurant, like, you don't go to a restaurant and see like funky glasses like this. It's like, typically it's going to look like this or this, but they're typically not this big. I feel like if I go to a restaurant and only have one glass, it's this. So, let's just see, because I say this all the time, and I'm going to tell you now that I truly look at the glasses before I look at the wine list when I go out to dinner, because I'm not going to spend hard-earned money on a great bottle of wine if they're getting like a goblet,
So what do you say when you're at a restaurant? Like the glasses are like hidden on underneath like a bar. What are you saying? Like, hey, can I see your glasses first?
Yeah. And then if they bring me over a crazy glass, because they drink vodka.
That's fair. I respect that.
So what do you get here? Like you can pour half back in this and do a side by side if you want to do like a true test to say that I'm not.
My mom would be so mad right now because she'd be like, "Yes, you need to do the dishes." I'll be watching all these glasses.
So that is the consequence of this setup, is that there's a lot more dishes.
I bet I'll do the dishes. This one tastes a lot more fruitier. This one, like, is really, I'm gonna say more bitter almost.
Yeah. I feel like you lose the characteristics of the wine. Like, it just tastes kind of bitter.
Yeah, you don't really get a lot of that, like you said, personality with the solid blonde glass.
Yeah, it kind of mutes it.
Yeah.
And Daniel and George Dow would be very upset.
Yeah, they'd be mad. Nah, I respect this. Like, I'll see why it's important to stock up on the glasses. Now, don't get the Holy Trinity of like the whole glassware if you can't, but definitely recommend at least trying out this experiment at Hotel Vin and Grapevine with Nikki and her team. Tons of great educational knowledge here. It really motivates you to like try more wines, to try them in different settings. So,
if you're in the area, I mean, we do these all the time. We have them literally monthly. Follow us on social. Even if your flight gets delayed, come check it out and just ask for the glass tasting, and we'll do a little mini version for you.
there you go. Flight for the fight.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
There you
it.
go.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to How's Your Wine. Again, come see Nikki at Hotel Vin. That's at Hotel Vin on Instagram, right?
At Hotel Vin, Texas.
At Hotel Vin, Texas. We'll make sure that is added into the video and in the comments below. So I'll check that out and cheers.